You said that when we created the Eurozone, we had not created the foundations that would allow the edifice to sustain, to absorb a nasty shock like that of 2008. This is, of course, what I say too. But it's not true that it happened because those who created the euro didn't know it. And this is where my story goes. In 1991, there was a meeting between three people, two I shall mention. One was President François Mitterrand of France, and the second was the President of the Commission at the time, the European Commission, Jacques Delors. The third person was my friend Stuart Holland, who told me what happened in that meeting. In that meeting, Delors, having been convinced by Stuart about the importance of adding to the euro system that was being hatched at the time, a fiscal foundation and also a growth component, to have the European Central Bank looking after the monetary stability, being the guardian of the euro, but at the same time having the European Investment Bank capable of issuing its own bonds in association with the ECB as the growth engine of the Eurozone. Jacques Delors, the President of the Commission, the smartest person to have become President of the Commission, was convinced of that, and he gave a 40-minute briefing to President Mitterrand on it. And Mitterrand was listening patiently, and at the end, Stuart tells me, there was a pause when he was actually doing this and thinking. And after the pause, he turned to Jacques Delors and said to him, Jacques, you are of course right, but we're not going to do this. Because we, Helmut Kohl and I, the Chancellor of Germany at the time and the President of France, we can swing a monetary union. We can't swing what you are suggesting. We just don't have the political clout to do that. We can bind them together, and he used almost a swear word in describing who he's binding together. And when we are no longer in power, in 10 or 15 years afterwards, that was Mitterrand's prediction, when a major crisis happens, our successors will have a very simple choice between doing what you are suggesting and letting the thing crumble. So it's not that they didn't know. It was that the political constraints were there, which the people like Mitterrand and Kohl hoped would have subsided by now, and which would have been defeated by the crisis, and therefore they were hoping that now that the crisis is happening, those institutional foundations are created. It turns out that this is not true, that the political constraints remain there, and our Lilliputian European leaders are not up to the task.